And what position?
I'm John Brierley, principal of the Garfield Elementary School in Toppenish, Washington.
Could you give us a brief description of the program that we're discussing here and talk about what you see as its goals and who it serves?
The program was originally started to include Mexican-American Indian children. This year, my building has the Indian component of the two components that were set up. The goal of the program was to have the young Indian children learn a little bit about their culture and also to develop their own language. And in addition to serving the Indian children of our school, it's open to the Anglos and to Mexican Americans. So we do have quite a few Indian children, but we do have some Anglos, and we have one Oriental child in the program.
How did the program get started and how is it funded?
Well, I think I would prefer to let Fred Diaz answer that question.
What was the need for this program? How did you see this program as being necessary? You said you have 3 linguistic groups in the local area. Why was a program dealing with Spanish and Spanish culture and Indian culture necessary?
Well, we felt that these youngsters were having the greatest difficulty in school, and so we felt that to have them become successful in the academic areas, we needed something to build their self-image, self-esteem. And we felt that if we could develop their culture, they could learn more of their own culture and feel good about themselves. It would carry over into the academic areas.
Would you say, as a principal and as a person who's able to observe the end product, would you say that this has proven to be true?
I would say that this is true. I think looking at the youngsters, they have more of a desire to come to school now. They seem to be willing to participate more than they have in the past. So I would say it's very definitely is of benefit to them.
And basically we know what your involvement is in the program. As the principal, you're the manager of the school.
Yes.
Have you found that this program has been a particular problem to administer, or is it just it's been about the same level of a problem, say, as any other of the school programs?
Well, as far as administering to this particular program, to me, the biggest problem, of course, is scheduling youngsters to leave their regular classroom to come in to the Center for the Indian Language. However, with an exceptionally good person handling the center and the cooperation of the regular classroom teachers, I find the administration quite simple.
How have your teachers reacted to the introduction of this program into the school?
Well, as I mentioned previously, the biggest problem is getting the youngsters scheduled so they come out at a certain time during the day. And when we started a little late this year, and the classes were already in progress, and then we started to pull the children out. And there was just a little bit of difficulty, but as far as the teachers cooperating, they've cooperated 100%.
What about culturally related materials and concepts in the program? How do you use these in the program?
Well, with the Indian children, of course, most of the materials that they've been using is things that the teacher herself has been working with and developing, because when we started this program, there were not any materials really developed, and so she's been working pretty much on her own with the Indian language and the film strips and the other things that she uses to develop their culture.
Mm-hmm. Now, the teachers that you have in this program are Indian people.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the teacher in your school?
Well, the lady that we have in our building is Mrs. Hazel Lumchut. She's not a teacher. We prefer to call her a language specialist. She is a member of the Yakima Indian Nation. She does speak the language fluently. She writes it. And to me, I think she's an outstanding individual.
What has been the effect of the program on the children that it's designed to serve?
Well, I think the children, the Indian children, have really been to identify with their own culture, and I see them relating quite well to the teacher and the fact that they're going to go down there. Now, the children of the other nationalities are enjoying it as well. They don't have the heritage to look at, but they do enjoy going in there and learning the language. But the Indian children basically feel real good about that. Someone is talking to them in their language about their people, and I think they enjoy school more because of this.
What has been the attitude on the part of the Indian community with regard to this program, and what's been the attitude on the part of the community as a whole in Yakima?
Well, the Indian community as such are very enthused about it. They want their children involved in it. They're willing to cooperate in any form that we ask of them. They want their children to learn the language. The other people of the community, they're not quite that involved. They know about the program. We have some youngsters in the program, but as far as saying yes, we're for it, no, we're not against it, they have not voiced an opinion.
But you certainly haven't received any negative reactions?
No, no.
Okay. What plans do you have for continuing or expanding this program?
I think I'd refer that to Mr. Diaz, too.
Well, let me ask you, as a principal, how do you feel about taking on additional type of cultural programming, having it in your school?
Was from my own particular point of view and from my work that's involved in it, I don't have that amount of work to put it in. It's a matter of scheduling it and matter in getting those youngsters out of the classroom. But as far as putting any more responsibility on my shoulders, I really don't see it. We do have a coordinator, and he pretty much runs the program. I run my building, and we work together with any problems that might arise. But as far as adding work for me, I don't see it.
So you would have no objection to expanding the kind of program that you see here?
No.
Either in the Indian area or in the
No.
Spanish area?
Because we had the Spanish last year until the funds were reduced, so we had that already. So it's just a matter of getting the youngsters coming out of the classroom at a time when the other teachers feel that they can leave, once that's solved, there isn't any problem.
As an educator, how important do you think it is to involve, now whether we're talking about Indians or Anglos or Spanish Americans or what, how important do you think it is to involve cultural background and traditional concepts and that sort of thing in the educational program?
Well, we've found that so many of our youngsters that have difficulty in school do have a low self-esteem or a low self-image. And when we bring these programs in for them, we find that they feel pretty good about it. They feel that somebody's taken an interest in them as a group of people. And because of this, I think we are finding that these youngsters are more willing to come to school. They want to learn a little bit better. And so I feel that it has a benefit for these people. And I think that every nationality, as far as that goes, should have some way of being able to identify with their particular heritage.
Very good. Okay, if you'll introduce yourself, then I'll ask you the first question.
I'm Mac McEwen, principal of Lincoln School in Toppenish.
All right, Mr. McEwen, could you tell us a little bit about the goals of this program and specifically a little bit about who it serves?
In my particular school, at Lincoln School, it serves, I would say, 75% of my Indian pupils, as well as, in some way, at least 100% of the rest of the pupils. In other words, in our arts and crafts component of the program, all of the children in the school go through that particular part. In the rest of the program, it serves approximately 75% of my Indian pupils.
How did the program get started? When did it get started, and how is it funded?
This is the third year of funding, third year it's been in operation. It's a program funded through the Emergency Education Act, Title VII. It's not the bilingual Title VII, but the Emergency Education Act. The program was first written by myself 3 years ago when it became apparent that our other bilingual program was being quite successful. And since we'd been hunting for funds for several years to fund a program such as this, we thought that this was an excellent opportunity when this money become available for funding.
What was the need that you saw that made you think a program of this might be useful in your school?
Can I stop you, Wobby? Can you ask him to describe the program?
We will.
Just a second. Or you get the thanks.
The need for the program was evident by our dropout situation. I felt there was something wrong when we were putting anywhere from 60 up to 60 first grade Indian pupils into our system, and was only getting 3 or 4 out of the upper end of it, the 12th grade. There was something wrong in there somewhere. And we were having success with this type of a program in other areas, in other languages.
What other languages specifically?
Spanish in particular.
Why had you found it necessary to work up a program in Spanish? Where was the Spanish population?
The Spanish population is right here on the reservation with our Indian people. In the particular school that I'm in, 78% of the pupils are minority, either Spanish-speaking or Indian students.
Tell us a little bit about the program, about how it works and the kinds of things that it does.
It's a departmentalized program, and this is unusual in itself because of the elementary school. We have actually 4 centers. We have a language center where the Yakima language is taught, also the Spanish language, also the English language to those who do not know English. Every child learns a second language. We have a reading center that just children visit every day. We have a math and science center where the boys and girls visit every day. We have an arts and crafts center that they visit 2 and 3 times a week. The arts and crafts center, we try to develop arts and crafts of the ethnic background of the particular students. In other words, moccasins, beadwork, pottery, basket weaving, and this type of thing.
How do you, outside of the arts and crafts program, how do you use culturally related materials and concepts in your program? Say, for example, in mathematics and in social studies and things of that nature.
In mathematics, of course, they learn the language of numbers, the meaning of numbers in their language. The arts, as far as the cultural background in the illustrations that are on the daily worksheets and this type of thing, are usually of Indians or of some of their related activities that we commonly, instead of having houses, quite often we have teepees, or instead of having cars, quite often horses, and this type of thing that the Indian children relate with.
How are you involved in the program? Of course, you're the principal, and how does the program shake out in comparison to other subject areas? Is it a problem to administer a program like this?
I don't think so. I think that I wouldn't personally wouldn't care how much of a problem it was if it was getting results, which I feel it's getting. And I feel that the children are developing the self-image they should have. They're not sitting back and hiding in their shell like they were. They're not afraid to speak up. They're not afraid to enter into class discussions. And also, in a way, it's helped us in the Indian community. The Indian parents, for instance, come to the school quite often, and while in years gone by it was a very big job to get them to come to the school. But now they come to the school, they don't feel out of place. They talk. They quite often put on cultural events for us, while in the past, if we wanted something like this, we had to pay for it. But now they come in, they even bring one particular family, the Speedis family, even brought their singer and drummer all the way from Seattle and put on a program for us, and it was an excellent program. Of course, some of the children are in the program, but and we found that when we go to their house now, we don't stand on the porch and talk to them. We're invited in.
How long has the program been in operation?
This is the 3rd year.
And as a principal in a position to see the effect of it, would you say that educationally you think it's going to have a good effect in terms of the dropout rate and in terms of what the children rate?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Okay. Could you just tell me that?
I think that I think we'll see a slowing of the dropout. I think we'll see a more confident, a more see the Indian boys and girls enter into more school activities than they have in the past, because they feel now that they're not isolated. They feel that they are part of the community. They're legends which have not been put down before, are being put on tapes and in books now, where they can read them themselves and see pictures of their heroes, you might say, of the past. And it can't help but have a good effect upon them.
And you say the Indian community has been very receptive to the program. What about the community as a whole, the outside community, say the Anglo portion of the community and the Spanish-speaking portion? Have they received it equally well? You haven't had any objections?
I haven't had any objections to it. I've had some people ask me why what importance the Yakima language were to the Indian people, and I've tried to explain it as best I can. I felt that if the language was not saved in this generation, it would be gone, because there was very few, if any, of the younger generation that was speaking the language. The old people, once they were gone, it was going to be gone with it. Alex Luskin, one of the former tribal chiefs and tribal members, first interested me in this, and my only regret was that Alec did not live to see the program started. He died the summer that it was to start in the fall, and he died in that summer. But he was very instrumental in getting me to write the program. He was very instrumental in getting the first dictionary of Indian words and so forth, and pronunciations.
What sort of plans do you have, or what sort of opportunities do you see for continuing or expanding this program?
Funding, of course, is a problem. This is not a Title IV program, nor a Johnson O'Malley program. This is a program that we must compete with people from all over the United States for this money. The first year it was written, we were very fortunate and rated very high. I think it was second in the country in the writing. But since that time, financing has been cut down, and they've got tougher. There's more programs being written, competing for this money, and it becomes more difficult every year to get funding. Now, whether we can still, our program for next year is already written. Mr. Diaz will talk to you about that a little later. It's already written. It's already gone in. No, it hadn't gone in yet, but it will this month. And we think we have a good program. We feel that it should be funded again, but you never know about these things.
Is this sort of program, not eligible for Title IV?
I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Title IV.
Any other questions?
Yeah, you talked a little bit about how the community has reacted. We've had some people from the parent committee come in. Do you work with the parent committee? If so, can you tell us, as a principal, what your role has been and the reaction? How have you gotten along? In other words, how have you been able to work together with the parent committees?
I haven't worked that much with the parent committee. I think Mr. Diaz can give you a better answer on that. We have had some work with them where there was problems concerning personnel or something like this. We consulted with the parent committee to see if they what their feelings was. We also I did get some feedback from the parent committee in the past 2 years about the reading center. They felt the kids wasn't getting enough reading, and we've taken care of that this year, and so that they are getting more reading. As far as I know, this is about the only areas that I worked with the parent committee. It's an advisory committee. If they see something they feel is wrong, they come in and talk to me about it.
We have one Oriental child in the program.
How did the program get started, and how is it funded?
Well, I think I would prefer to let
Okay.
Fred Diaz answer that question.
What was the need for this program? How did you see this program as being necessary? You said you have 3 linguistic groups in the local area. Why was a program dealing with Spanish and Spanish culture and Indian culture necessary?
Well, we felt that these youngsters were that were set up. The goal of the program was to have the young Indian children learn a little bit about their culture, and also to develop their own language. And in addition to serving the Indian children of our school, it's open to the Anglos and to Mexican Americans. So we do have quite a few Indian children, but we do have some Anglos. And I think looking at the youngsters, they have more of a desire to come to school now. They seem to be willing to participate more than they have in the past. So I would say it's very definitely is of benefit to them.
And basically, we know what your involvement is in the program as the principal. You're the manager of the school.
Yes.
Have you found that this program has been a particular problem to administer, or is it just it's been about the same level of a problem, say, as any other of the school programs?
Well, as far as administering to this particular program,
And what position?
I'm John Brierley, principal of the Garfield Elementary School in Toppenish, Washington.
Could you give us a brief description of the program that we're discussing here and talk about what you see as its goals and who it serves?
The program was originally started to include Mexican American Indian children. This year, my building has the Indian component of the 2 components, the greatest difficulty in school. And so we felt that to have them become successful in the academic areas, we needed something to build their self-image, self-esteem. And we felt that if we could develop their culture, they could learn more of their own culture, and feel good about themselves, it would carry over into the academic areas.
Would you say, as a principal and as a person who's able to observe the end product, would you say that this has proven to be true?
I would say that this is true.